Let's go in loud.
Please take me. Why did he have to choose such a desolate place? Stranger, can you assist me? This cavern contains the skull of one of my ancestors, which serves as a focus for a powerful necrotic spell. With the worm cult nearby, I can't leave the skull here, but I can't simply remove it either. My ancestor Gandelec performed a ritual ages ago that bound spirits to Carapace Cavern. His skull is the focus. If I merely remove it, the spirits will be freed to wreak havoc across the island. I must make this right, but I can't do it alone. I hire you to take this orb to altars inside the cavern. I'll perform a ritual from here to attune it to the area's necrotic energy. Then, you exchange the orb for my ancestor's skull. Let's get started, before the worm cult realizes what's in here. Take the orb into the cavern, visit each altar, and hold out the orb. Then I can attune the altar's concentrated necrotic energy into it. I'll meet you at each altar in astral form and perform the attunement rite. No, I need to stay here and focus on the ritual. All those spirits and hadalids make for a distracting environment. I'm sure you can handle them without my help, though. Oh, yes. Plenty of hadalids. So many hadalids. Intelligent shell folk who defend their nests to the death. Between them and the spirits Gandelec bound to the cavern, I couldn't perform the ritual and retrieve his skull. Too many interruptions. I'm not sure he bound them on purpose, but yes, he was a necromancer, much to my clan's chagrin. Yet some cheered him on, since power is power, no matter the source. Others found his magic gruesome and distasteful. Like me. Gandelec used his own body as the focus of a necromantic ritual that went awry. Even though it killed him, the ritual was never completed. It continues to collect necrotic energy and binds the spirits of his old crew. His skull remains as the focus. Exactly. With your help, I'll finish the ritual and use the orb to absorb and dissipate the collected necrotic energy. Eventually, the bound spirits will be freed, provided the dampening orb works as I intend it to. When attuned to an area's necrotic energy, it absorbs and dampens that energy. Think of how you can smother a fire with a blanket to extinguish it. That's what this orb does, but not fully. Well, we're basically completing the ritual my ancestor started, so that we can remove the skull without releasing the spirits bound in this cavern. A trickle of the necrotic energy needs to remain in place after we swap out the skull. Not forever, but if the binding energy is removed too quickly, the spirits could escape to cause trouble across the island. The dampening properties of the orb will slowly dissipate the energy, allowing the spirits to eventually move on as intended. Them. They're Tamrielic necromancers who arrived on the island recently. Solstice does have a certain reputation. Cursed, haunted, the Forgotten Land. If the skull contains as much power as I suspect, I'd rather keep it away from the worms. Specifically, I don't think so. But this island has a connection to Molag Bal and the undead. Even the high elves who settled here were once into all kinds of necromantic nonsense. So, rumors of cursed relics of untold power abound. Oh, that's a tale. The short version is my clan has always tried to forget Gandelec. Ignore the dishonor and infamy that stained my family. Finally, one of our elders put her foot down and told me to find the skull and put it to rest. So here I am. Here's the first altar. Present the orb while I perform my ritual. Mother of Seas, that took more out of me than I expected. But we're done with this one. That was taxing. For all the practice I've had with dampening arcane forces, dealing with necrotic energy feels like something scratching the inside of my bones. I don't know what the Argonians who built these altars were thinking. Yes, Argonians arrived from Tamriel centuries before either the High Elves or the Sea Elves made their way to Solstice. Whatever purpose the altars originally served, my ancestor and his Lich captains changed them when they seized the cavern. In an effort to strengthen his hold on the local waters, the ritual included provisions for turning both Sea Lord Gandelec and his captains into liches. His captains now want this cavern, but Gandelec was destroyed. Only his skull remains. My ancestor's necromantic mastery put him at odds with our clan. Beyond that, I'm still researching this site to understand what happened. Just as I believe it was the Hadalids that ruined his ritual, they have made my own investigations difficult. Another altar. And with your help, I have more time to examine it.
You shall not escape our east!
Storm's fury, that hurt! Something in these altars resonates through the arcane matrix when I attune the orb. Another altar's necrotic energy attuned to the orb. Why this one caused me pain, I'm not quite sure. Now that I'm able to take a closer look, I think these altars were originally dedicated to Sithis, the Dreadfather of the Argonians. Interesting. Snake magic is one of my specialties. In astral form, I can taste the air, like a snake searching for prey. I've tasted this before, when I encountered the Dark Brotherhood. Argonian worship of Sithis is different, but the taste is the same. While Sithis has a strong connection to death and the void, I wouldn't call the associated energies necrotic. I assume my ancestor altered and perverted the natural currents of power here to his own ends. Another reason for me to set things right. The last altar. Time to get to work. The orb is fully attuned. Now head to the main chamber near the entrance to retrieve my ancestor's skull. And finish this. And done. But dealing with necrotic energy makes my skin crawl. Now, head to the main chamber to find the treasure hoard and my ancestor's skull. I'm so looking forward to ending this particular task. Well, my wide range of talents makes me indispensable. Sometimes I help finalize a trade agreement or find a lost ship. Other times, I deal with things like this. Once I finish the ritual, I'll take the skull back to the clan and put Gandelec to rest. Gandelec's ritual has finally been completed, and the flow of necrotic energy has changed. Well done. I'll add some final adjustments to the orb while you make your way outside. Excellent. The attuned dampening orb works perfectly, and I set up the siphoning process. Over time, the necrotic energy in the cavern should wane. Then the spirits here will eventually move on to their final rest. Now, the skull, if you please. Oh, at last! My ancestor Sea Lord Gandelec has been a dark stain on my clan's reputation for long enough. Now, after all these years, his ritual has been finished, and soon his crew will know rest. Here, take this. And thanks again for assisting me. I hear an alliance to combat the worm cult is forming in Sunport. After I take Sea Lord Gandelec's skull to my aunt, I may venture there myself. Unless, of course, my clan needs me to deal with some other problem. Yes, more or less. It's easy, but wrong to imprison all clans in the same cage. That is to say, broad generalizations are useful in the abstract, but often cause harmful misunderstandings in practice. Most definitely. I've learned a few good magical tricks in my work. Even if the worm cult comes along, they'd have a hard time trying to use the necrotic energy at this point, especially without my ancestor's skull. As my aunt has said of my ancestor, that man clutched secrets more tightly than a drowning land legs holds on to flotsam. I doubt he told his crew more than he needed to. Less than that, even.